All right, so this is Hawks Talk. Welcome to Hawks Talk, um, where I'm doing a mock draft today, 2.0. Did one last week. Um, I'm gonna do two today. One now, probably one later. Um, today's right now. I'm gonna do a mock draft just simply based on the picks that we have. No trading, no whatsoever. This is gonna be just picking with the picks that we are given. All right, so let's get it started. Doing this one based strictly off of the picks we got. So that's not that hard of a decision, right? Brock Bowers sitting there at 16. Shoot, we run this sucker in like we were running a 4-flat 40, you know? Mike McDonald's probably going to pull his hammy trying to run to that fast. But I want to do a couple different options. Last one we did it strictly fully on what I think would happen. This one I'm going to do what I think is going to happen if we stay at every pick that we are given. No trades are allowed. So got a tight end in Brock Bowers, so that takes that need off. We're not going to need a tight end for the next 10 years. That's great. Um, Here at 81, you want to go best player available. However, like Christian Mahogany is one of the better players available, right? But he also kind of fits the needs. So at that point, it's kind of like take the best player available, but if they're close in the same area code of what they are as a player, take the one that you actually kind of need, because we don't need that D tackle as much as we did, because there's Tavondre Sweat here at 102. He's falling for off the field stuff. I'm not going to get into that. You guys can do that if you want, but we're banking on him turning that around, right? Hoping that he's fine after. But the player, he's worth it at 102. If you get him at 102, it's like, okay. Here at 118, definitely need a safety, and I like Jaden Hicks. Read the report. The best prospect on the Cougs is Jaden Hicks. That is correct. Watching him as all year as a Cougar is great. Um, he's like the, how do I put this? He's just well-rounded, so to say. He's not like superb at one thing. He's just a complete player. Like he just is okay at everything and whatnot. So it's not like he's gonna blister you with speed or whatnot, but you're at 179. Let's see who's here. Took and guard. Now it's kind of just player available. Milton's interesting, but I honestly don't draft a quarterback because of Howell. I'll draft a. I'm gonna take a homebody linebacker, Washington linebacker. I think that's a high possibility that we draft a linebacker, and you know, take somebody home like DTF. He's somebody I would draft too, but I'm not just gonna do that. I'm going to take a fun player, Sione Vaki. That guy plays two positions, back and safety. He's pretty good at both of them, so he gives you that versatility. He's also a good return. He could be a good returner for you, and I think as a Seahawk, we need one. Now, I'm gonna do a personal feeling and draft a kicker. I personally think we need a kicker, and the one that I like, Stanford's. And so I'm just seeing if they have any notes on him, but I'm gonna draft Joshua Carty, kicker from Stanford. I think we need a kicker. Personally, I'm tired of Myers and his hit or miss season. Right, he's in 20. I don't know, but one year he has a great year. Next year it's like Next year it's like, oh, he's the best kicker in the league, and it's like And it's like I just can't stand that, you know. Um. So this is my draft. 16. Just stand put. 16. You got Brock Bowers, Christian Mahogany, and Tvondre Sweat. And then you round out the fourth with Jaden Hicks, safety from Washington State. And in the fifth round, you got Edufon Olufashoyu. His last name is hard to pronounce for myself personally, can't lie. And in the end of in the fifth, you got Sione Vaki, safety from Utah, running back from Utah. I played a little bit of both. And in 235, you rounded out with a kicker. I think this draft is pretty dang good for what it is you're given. You got an incredible tight end that's going to be your tight end for the next 10, 15 years. Christian Mahogany is a okay, like he's good. He's a good guard. He's not the top. He's okay, but this draft, I just wanted to focus on trying to do one of like where we are without trading. So do it where the board falls. And I'm pretty happy with it. If this was actually what they did come Thursday, or this weekend, I should say, how can you be mad? Like, as a Seahawks fan, you can't be mad at this draft, right? Like, they tackled these three guys right here. Four, I would say. These four could make impacts this next year. He would make an impact. I think he, towards the end of the year, would make an impact. He would make an impact if he can stay okay, like, off field. And he is a guy that I think, personally, is just consistent. And that's all I want. I would rather have consistency over talent, right? So, this mock draft, I just did a mock draft based solely on what I think can happen if they just stay pat at every pick, right? So, it is what it is on like no trading and whatnot. I think this can happen. I do firmly believe though that they are looking to trade back. I don't think they're going to stay at 16 unless somebody there at 16 is just too good to pass on, like a Troy Faltanu, Brock Bowers, excuse me, somebody like that. Like at 16, they're only drafting somebody if it's really, really worth it, right? They're not drafting somebody that is you could get at 20, right? They're not going to do that. They're going to trade back unless somebody's there at 16 to make them stay. And that is something I wholeheartedly believe. Like, I don't know why, but I just wholeheartedly believe that they're not going to stay there at 16 unless a Brock Bowers, a Jared Verse, or Troy Faltanu, like those guys are there. I personally think they're looking to trade back. It makes sense. We need to pick up a second round pick. This draft is loaded. Like, it's a pool from end of the first to the third round of just packed with those guys, right? And so you want to get as many picks as you possibly can inside that group of guys to get as much of them as you can. So I personally do believe, as myself, that they are looking to trade back. Now, with that, I wouldn't be shocked if they stood pat at 16 and drafted if Brock Bowers is there. I don't want them trading back. I want Brock Bowers on my team. He gives us that X factor, right, in our offense. Because if you got Brock Bowers on our offense, what weakness do we have? Our offensive line, and that's getting better with drafts and young guys just coming up. Like our offense, you would have Charles Cross, left tackle, probably maybe Lincoln Tomlinson at left guard. Center would be Olu Foshanu, or Olu Oluwatimi, sorry, got that mixed up. And then right guard could be Christian Mahogany, Anthony Bradford, whoever earns that spot. And now you're having a competition, and that's good. Best man win. Great. I love it. And then at right tackle, you got Abe Lucas. Hopefully he's good. If not, you got George Fant, so we're good there. Like, George Fant's serviceable. And Abe Lucas, just hope he stays healthy, please. And then you got Geno Smith, who's one of the most underrated quarterbacks. Last year wasn't a great year, but it wasn't bad any means. Like, he was good. Our offensive line was horrible. And so he played behind one of the worst offensive lines. He was bad. You lost both starting tackles week one. How is a quarterback supposed to be able to compete week in and week out against these great pass rushers without your two starting tackles week one? Hard. People underestimate what Geno Smith can do. I do believe he's a good quarterback. He can lead us to, I don't know if he can lead us to a Super Bowl win. I won't go that far, but I do think he can win us some playoff games, personally. Our team is going to be good. He's not going to have to, it's going to be like when we won in 2013, when it wasn't necessarily like the quarterback driving us to the Super Bowl. It was the team. The defense was incredible, yes. But everybody kind of worked together. You had Marshawn, the greatest running back in the league at the time. So it was hard to beat, right? So on offense, you have your offensive line, who I think gets better with time, Geno Smith, and then receivers, you got DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith and Jigba, who I think is going to have a monster year. I am ready for that takeoff. That rocket, I'm riding that sucker to the moon. And then you got Jake Bobo, who's one of those guys that's just a serviceable, like, Swiss Army knife guy. Like, he's 6'5", great hands. He's not fast, but you don't need him to be fast. You don't need the burner. That's not what you draft or signed him for in the on free agency after the draft. That guy's just great red zone. And we saw that this year when he got some of his targets. And then you got tight ends. You got Noah Fant. And here you got Brock Bowers. So those two are great. Brock Bowers is also an underrated blocker. That guy blocks his behind off at Georgia. 100%. All the time. He would lay his body out for his teammates to score. And that's the kind of guy I love. Then you got Pharoah Brown, who's a really good blocker. Not a great catcher, right? Like, you're not bringing him in to catch. You're bringing him in to strictly block as like an extra offensive lineman, right? That's what he was brought in for. And then running backs, don't even get me started on them. Ken frickin' Walker, man. That guy is a unit. He's one of my favorite players to watch. His burst is the speed at which he can go sideline to sideline, like his cuts and then his moves. It's like, goodness, that guy's his agility and his burst is just incredible. And Zach Charbonnet, as years go on, he gets better. I love that combination. And then you add in Kenny McIntosh, who at the end of last year's draft, I was looking at as one of the probably best picks of all in the draft, because that guy should have been a third-round pick, talent-wise. He fell all the way to the 7th, and you got a third-round talent in the 7th round. Yes, he got hurt, but I still firmly believe that that guy is going to make impacts for us in the passing game. He's the best pass-catching running back in the draft last year. He's got great agility. He's got great instincts. And I'm expecting him to be healthy and just provide for us. And then if you draft a running back this year or not, I don't know. It depends on how the board falls late in the draft. Our offense is going to be pretty damn good. And if you add Brock Bowers to it, there's not much of a weakness, man. If, like, for instance, one team has great linebackers and they take the middle of the field away, you can hit them deep with your receivers. And then, like, D-lines, if the D-lines are good on the team, the running game's not good. You got tight ends and receivers and vice versa. If the corners are good on the team and the safeties are good and the receivers aren't getting as much as they are, you got the tight end, you got the running backs. Like, this team, if they position themselves right, can be hard to beat, especially with Ryan Grubb. Don't even, like, let's not forget Ryan Grubb's on this team, who in Washington did. This offense at Seattle is mighty similar to Washington's, how it's built. You got Roma Dunze, who's comparable to DK as far as their roles. And then you got Jalen Polk, who's kind of like the Tyler Lockett. And Jalen McMillan is like your Jackson Smith and Jigba, the great slot guy, but can also beat you outside if you forget about him. Now, the only part on this team that's different is tight ends. I think the tight ends on the Seahawks are better than the ones at Washington. But the running backs are about the same. Dylan Johnson was a damn good running back if he didn't get hurt. That dude was playing through an injury halfway through the season and still put up 1,000 yards. And he wasn't even getting used halfway through the first half of the season. So he put those 1,000 yards up through half the year. So if they would have used him like they did half the year throughout the whole season, what could he have done? So it's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if there's anything you guys want me to do as far as other content, or if I should do something differently to make my videos better, make everything better. Just nice comments down below. Don't need to be mean or anything like that. I'm open to criticism. I don't mind it. I want to make better content for you all. But like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. This is Hawks Talk. I'm Jacob, and